Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Digital Academy. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're fighting hard to stay positive and taking care of the people around you and keep taking care of your own mind. Staying fascinated. Remembering the whole point of this, right? The whole point of this channel is like just try to keep some of my friends and some of my students and myself focused through this crazy time and just give us a break from kid shows if you're a parent. And let's talk about something kind of cool. Let's talk about toxoplasma or toxoplasmosis. Okay, this is your quarantine word of the day. That's a stupid thing to say. I won't keep doing that. But this is our word of the day. All right, love you guys and hang in there. I'm gonna try a new animation so that I noticed that between the slides when this saves, it's just like a flash of white, which is probably really nice to the viewer. Not so. Let's try this new animation in the middle. Okay, love you and hope this looks cool. Cheers. Added a little transition there so it's not just a flash between each slide.
Toxoplasma gondii is a protozoan parasite, and as a parasite, its goal is to reproduce and affect more and more hosts. The only place in the entire world that Toxoplasma can find a mate and sexually reproduce is in the gut of a feline, like a tiger, a lion, or more
So the only way this
commonly,
parasite
a
can
cat.
reproduce is actually in a cat's
Inside
gut.
the cat's
So
gut,
weird.
the organism can recombine with other Toxoplasma genes, sexually reproduce, and create eggs called oocysts. When a cat is infected, it sheds these eggs into the environment through its feces. The eggs are highly durable and can sit in the environment for months or even years. Since the parasite can only reproduce in the gut of a cat, its evolutionary challenge is how to get back in.
See, this might be a dumb comment, but is that why they always say like to be so careful to keep cat litter away from kids? I have no idea. Like, it's just an interesting thought that there's parasites that are able to live in cat poo, but that basically can't live anywhere else. Cat feces. Sorry, I got a 3-year-old. That's why I called it poo.
Inside a cat. How does Toxoplasma do this? It is very, very creative. These Toxoplasma eggs are everywhere.
How
On
did
the
that ever
ground,
evolve?
in the water, basically around areas where there are cats. Cat prey, such as rodents, then root around through the soil or drink water that is contaminated with the parasite eggs. Once ingested, the parasite migrates throughout the rodent's body, particularly the brain. And this is where it gets even crazier. Toxoplasma
So just so you're following to this point, not to insult your intelligence, but just, we're all busy and maybe you hadn't heard of this before. So what this idea is that the in the cat feces there's a parasite that seems almost specifically evolved to be left behind by the cat so that mice and rats find it, they eat it, or they drink water that's been contaminated by it. And why this is interesting is how it then changes their behavior and how these two things would have co-evolved. 3 things would have co-evolved, right? The cat, the mouse, and the parasite.
has the ability to rewire the brain and turn fear into
It
desire.
actually turns.
The parasite forms cysts.
Sorry, I shouldn't have paused right there. The effect of the toxoplasma is it turns the rat's fear into desire. Now think of how powerful of a chemical it would be. It'd be like if you were afraid of swimming because you had a deathly intense fear of drowning, and you got exposed to a chemical that all of a sudden made you want to swim all the time. Like that was just a freestyle, not very good example, but that's the type of change. It's a complete 180.
Focusing most densely on the amygdala, the region of the brain linked to fear and anxiety. So rodents, whose instinctual behavior is to avoid the scent of cats, aka avoid being eaten,
Right, so you would think that or naturally they would have evolved to the smell of cat urine being a signal, oh, there's a cat in the area. Cats are the primary predator, so get out of here. But this actually has the opposite. It actually attracts them to the cats almost. It's insane.
now become sexually attracted to the smell of cat urine.
Not just.
The rodents are then more likely to be eaten by a cat, allowing the parasite to enter the next phase of its life cycle. But the parasite
And it's like it's not even the mouse thinking almost. This is crazy to say, but it's almost the parasite's just using the mouse to get back into the cat's gut. It's crazy.
is not only limited to rodents. Toxo has been found in many species and shown to affect their behavior as well. Chimpanzees that are affected have even shown a morbid attraction to leopards. It is estimated that 1 in 3 humans
crazy,
carry Toxoplasma gondii. Once considered strictly latent in the human body, scientists are beginning to question that. Back in prehistoric times, we were prey items of large cats. It is not out of the question that the parasite could induce similar effects in us. Emerging science
All you
suggests that
cat lovers.
Toxoplasma can affect human personality, behavior,
crazy.
and even mental illness.
Like I wonder, like the sexual part's a whole other crazy level, but it'd be interesting if it's like that's what actually. I don't know. The human part doesn't make as much sense because the mouse part, the cat eats the mouse. That actually eventually gets back to the gut. Now, if instead of cat you switch it to saber-toothed tiger, like in that picture, then that all of a sudden does make sense with humans.
Toxo-infected individuals are shown to be more likely to be involved in car accidents due to reckless driving. Toxo has been linked to an increased likelihood of suicide and neuroticism. Many studies show that people with schizophrenia are more likely to be affected by toxo. Some science even suggests that behavioral alterations from the parasite at a population scale can influence cultural differences between nations. Toxoplasma can also harmfully affect those with compromised immune systems, which is why bags of kitty litter warn pregnant women to avoid contact as it can be extremely dangerous to the fetus. Though a typical cat infection lasts for at most a couple of weeks, one cat can shed millions of oocytes in its feces each day that it is infected. In Hawaii, Toxoplasma is becoming a growing concern in an ecosystem that did not co-evolve with the parasite, as the results can be severe. Through rainwater, sewage, and runoff, these eggs eventually find their way into the ocean, affecting marine species.
Crazy.
Endangered Hawaiian monk
parasite
seal and spinner dolphin carcasses have washed ashore. Cause of death? Raging Toxoplasma infections, otherwise known as toxoplasmosis.
Crazy toxoplasmosis. There's your word for the day. All right. If you're talking to someone on the phone, they're like, "Hey, what's new?" You just be like, "Hey, you heard about toxoplasmosis?" They'll be like, "What the hell have you been doing this quarantine?" It's like you've been listening to the Digital Academy. Love you. Hope you're doing well. Cheers. And we're gonna get through this. It's gonna eventually be hindsight. So start getting positive. Start doing some hard work. Start doing the stuff you need to do. Rebuild. All right. It's time to rebuild, man. Cheers.